Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for taking out time, like every time. I'm happy to see the full house. Uh, Welcome to another wonderful experience that we get with Guruji. Uh, this is how it will be today. Guruji first will speak. I hope it is audible. Guruji will speak on one topic first. Then there will be a round of question answers from your side. If you have any questions, please write them down and hand it over to me so I can ask on your behalf, because we can't pass on the mic to everyone. So if you have any questions, do write them down and I will choose few out of them so Guruji can answer. After we finish with question and answers, then we will have meditation session. That I will explain at that time how this meditation has to be done. It's not like regular meditation where we have to close our eyes and sit in meditation. This is the meditation where we receive energy from our Guru. So I will explain at that time. But for now, I request Guruji to enlighten us on one topic which I think everybody somewhere feels it and wants to know the answer to it, which is there really mukti from this compulsory birth and death? Is there really, like, or is just a terminology used by, like, in scriptures that, okay, you will be out of this cycle of compulsory birth and death, misery and pain? Is it really possible? And if it is possible, how to go about it? How to take one baby step in that direction? And what all aspects come along with this one statement that I want to free myself from this compulsory birth and death cycle with so much of misery and pain? So let's hear from Guruji, and hopefully the question and answers that come in your mind will be answered.
Okay, good evening. Nice to see a full house. Next time we'll be selling tickets in black market. Rather than take a bigger place. अरे हे recording नाही झालं याचा?
It's on.
Okay. Yeah, this topic, I asked Seema what really I should talk on today, and she said that this is something that concerns everybody. See, the whole idea of human life is very different from what you think it is. You feel it is some kind of a divine trap to put you in this human body, in human form, make you go through ups and downs. Of course, not that everyone is down all the time, not that you suffer all the time. In fact, the suffering periods are shorter than the happy periods, mostly. But sometimes they are considerably long, depending on your frame of mind and how you approach your life and how you're conditioned. But life is not a trap, and nor is it some divine scheme to make you suffer, and there's no vengeful God who delights in your suffering. That's not how it works. I know we feel like that when our chips are down, when things don't go our way, when we are in mental or physical trauma. We always feel that everything is against us. and we question the very uh, 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 validity of human life and why the hell do we come here, and why are we here? What are we doing over here? And who sent you here, kind of a thing. So let me give you the real picture and why we get stuck in this cycle of karma that we call, and what can we really do about it. As you know, karma is the law of cause and effect. As you sow, so you reap. It's universal. Whether you believe in it or not is of no consequence. And ignorance of this law is also of no consequence. You cannot claim that I did not know. You better well be aware of this law, either through default or by design, that such a law exists and is in operation. And it's a very simple law of cause and effect. It's as simple as you break a red light and you pay the fine. The only difference is that every red light you break, you will get caught and you will pay a fine. Unlike a human traffic police, where you can very easily get away. Half the time you don't get caught. Once in a while when you do get caught, you can always, you know the ways of getting out of that. Here there's no way of getting out of anything. Karma is energetic accounting. It is connected to your soul, to your energy. You can't divorce it. You can't destroy it. You can't bribe your way through. You have to work your way through it. There is no other way. Now, how do we get so entrenched in this cycle of karmic debt? Both. Positive and negative. Nobody has only negative karma, only positive karma. We have both, and we have to, enjoy the positive karma and pay for the negative karma. Pay in the sense you have to square it up. And you only square it up with some kind of suffering or pain because you've inflicted that. So there is very few other means of getting around it. Now, how does the soul really get so deeply stuck in this quagmire of karmic debt? And why do we find it so difficult to come out of it? And this will also explain to you that it's not a divine plan to trap you and enjoy your suffering. You see, when you're in a disembodied state, meaning before you take a physical birth, physical incarnation, what your mind really wants is to enjoy an experience. You see, you have two aspects of your mind. That is your lower mind and your upper mind, or your higher mind, I would say, not upper mind, higher mind. Your higher mind is the wisdom faculty, that is the sheer intelligence that we refer to. The discriminative intellect, that is the higher mind. It is that part of you that also triggers off your conscience or the inner voice. So that is all contained in the higher mind. The lower mind, which is equally strong, is the cavalier adventurous part of you. The one that is predominantly ignorant. Ignorant meaning not unpad, not uneducated, ignorant of what reality is. So when it is ignorant of reality, it seeks to find out and to experience reality. And its very fervent desire is to experience the enjoyment of the senses, because it is craving experience and enjoyment. Now this refers to every soul. It is not you, me, or just the people sitting in the room. It's every soul that incarnates on the planet, regardless. Whether they're spiritually advanced, whether they're spiritually defunct, it doesn't make a difference. Now what happens is, the mind is so eager to experience these senses and to take the enjoyment, because in the disembodied state, it has those senses, it is aware of them, but it cannot enjoy them. It's like you have a lot of black money, unaccounted wealth, tons of it, but you are just an ordinary clerk in the government office. You can't show that wealth, can you? You have to keep it hidden. You can't enjoy it. The moment you enjoy it, nab you. It's something like that. So in the disembodied state, you know you have this, you know it is worth enjoying, but you can't enjoy it. There's no medium, there's no vehicle to enjoy it. So you take a vehicle, and that vehicle is your physical body, which primarily means that you have to be embodied in the 5 elements, the physical body of 5 elements. So the soul makes a tough choice, but eventually gives in and says, fine, I'm going to incarnate. Planet Earth is available, and I will enjoy these famed senses, the 5 senses. Now, as the soul takes each incarnation, it satisfies that want, that desire. But the thing about desire and senses is that it's a catch-22 situation. The more the senses are indulged, the more they desire. Now, as I told you, the higher mind is the wisdom faculty, the lower mind is the desiring and experiencing faculty. And it is predominant in the early stages of your incarnations as you take one birth after another. The lower mind is far, far more powerful, I would say is predominant to the higher mind. And therefore your desires become unbridled. They're like wild horses, fueled by the five senses. For so many, many incarnations, you are only content with the gross satisfaction of the five senses. Gross satisfaction. Now, what happens in the process? There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, what the hell? The planet was made for enjoyment of the senses. But there are laws. And in our ignorance, we do not choose to learn them or follow them. So we keep breaking the red light. We let our unbridled desires turn into unbridled greed. And satisfaction of the senses becomes our paramount mission in life. Or as they say in French, raison d'être, meaning reason to live. Once you start this cycle, there is payback. And the whole problem with the payback is that we don't learn from one or two paybacks. We think it's okay, I'm going through the suffering, but so what? I'll try harder next time to fulfill my desires. Over many incarnations, this build-up of karmic debt, crossing the red light, becomes a very heavy burden. The reason being that it's not you incur a debt and next day you're going to pay it. No, it doesn't happen that way. That again is not part of the rules of coming on this planet. Because there is a plan, there is a blueprint that you follow. So it can't be that, you square off on day 2 what you incur on day 1. There's a time and place for that. Now, at a certain point in your journey, and believe me, when I say journey, I mean over many incarnations, your soul realizes that, oh my God, what have I been doing? I've been breaking the law. I've been crossing the red light. Something somewhere opens up or is planned in your blueprint to open up. When you realize that, okay, there is a law and I should not be breaking it, at least you become aware that there is something which I should not be doing. That doesn't mean you stop doing it. It's only an awareness. It takes a lot of effort to stop. Because the force of your desires fueled by the senses is so strong that it's not easy to give up that habit which the soul has developed over many incarnations, what we call samskaras. It takes a lot of getting bashed up. It takes a lot of suffering for the soul to learn one lesson. Only one. You've got to learn many lessons. So over a period of time, the soul gets educated. What really happens is, you concede space in your being, in your consciousness, of the higher mind to the lower mind. Meaning the lower mind then consumes less thinking space and the higher mind fills up that space. So you develop a conscience, so you develop a kind of awareness about the law. So you become more, let's say, careful about how you behave, how you talk, how you act. Whether you inflict suffering, whether you inflict pain. That awareness increases. So the higher mind kind of takes precedence. But again, that is not the end of the cycle. No, by no means. The cycle will only start to end if you do something proactive. And by proactive, I mean not just talking about doing good karma, talking about how much you know about the law of karma, but actually putting a stop on inflicting pain and suffering on other human beings. Intentionally. Because the intent has to be there. To incur karma, intent has to be there. Luckily, that is the safety catch you have. That if your intent is not there, you don't incur karma. But if your intent is slightly there, even a little bit, 1%, you do. The intent has to be to harm, hurt, cheat, rob, take something that is not meant to be yours, inflict some kind of hurt or pain on another person. That intent is very important. So unless there is a proactive shift, you do not begin to end this cycle. For the simple reason I call it a cycle is, till this debt is completely squared up or is resolved, you cannot get out of it. You cannot get out of the mandatory requirement to come into physical existence and square up your debts. So you will have to, at some point, somewhere, agree to come and square up your debts. You can stay in disembodied state for as long as you want, but that doesn't wipe out your debt. Because it's energetic, it's connected to your energy. You can't divorce it. You can't shed it. It has to be worked out. So then the proactive part kicks in. And for that you need a whole lot of, well, I would say, evolution, introspection, maybe guidance, and a whole lot of willpower. Because it's so easy to fall prey to your senses and your desires and your greed and your attachments. Primarily, the two drivers of karma are greed and attachment. Primarily, these are the two, to a large extent. So you have to really proactively fight with this. Fight against it. And that fight is not outside, it's within you. It's inside of you. And if you've not realized that, then the fight doesn't begin. So therefore, the emphasis on A, awareness, B, introspection, and C, sadhana, means some kind of spiritual practice. Without that, I quite doubt if you can evolve. Given the power of the five senses, given the sheer addiction to enjoy those senses, which the lower mind is so complicit with and so fascinated with. Now again, that doesn't mean you don't enjoy the senses. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you just give up everything and become some kind of a zombie and live with a loincloth tied around you, barely eating. No, I don't mean that. Of course, the senses are meant to be enjoyed. And every soul has that right and desire to enjoy the senses. But the point is that we don't stop at enjoying them. We let our greed and our attachment turn that into a karma accumulating machine. That is where you have to put a stop. Not against enjoying the senses, but at what cost? Are you going to inflict pain and suffering on another person to enjoy those senses? To feed your greed? To fulfill your attachments? To satisfy them? Then you're in trouble. But if you can do it without that, nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. But we don't see that fine line. We keep crossing that line. Therefore, active sadhana is required, because that keeps the awareness levels very high. Until a certain level of purity is not achieved, mental purity, you will forget this kind of a lecture. You won't be interested in it. By tomorrow morning, it will be completely wiped out. That is where sadhana plays a role. that level of purity that you achieve through it ensures that you stay on track. That what you have heard, read, becomes a part of you, is absorbed in you. Without that, you cannot begin to end this cycle. Now, when will this cycle end? We don't know. Nobody knows. Or whether it should end depends on you. If you keep enjoying the planet, and if you know how to enjoy physicality and the physical dimension, well, nothing stops you from keep on coming here and enjoying it. What the hell? Enjoy it all you want, but don't mess up. That's the problem. So don't think physical life is a trap or some kind of a divine plan to make you suffer, and there's some God who's saying, oh boy, let this guy get it. No, nobody's happy in human suffering. Nobody enjoys that. You brought it onto yourself, so you have to square it off and you have to move on. And move on doesn't mean you do away with physical life or human life. No. It means play by the rules. If you play by the rules, it's such a great thing. The only thing that that messes you up besides your karma, the only thing that messes you up besides your karma is one thing, is your ability to handle relationships. No, that's a acquired art. You have to acquire it. Karma brings people into your life. You make a bloody mess of it. How you tackle your villains, how you tackle your friends, it's up to you. You got to acquire that art. You got to learn. Everything is not karma. Karma only brings situations and the people around you. The rest is left to your free will and your ability to tackle human beings. And you better learn that fast. You can't say, God gave me this problem. No, God does not give anybody any problems. God is a witness. Yes, He's pained by how much you suffer. But then that's your fault. It's not His fault. So you better learn fast. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize this, you know. So this whole thing about getting out of the cycle and mukti chahiye, I want to be liberated, it's talking on top of your head. How many liberated people do you find walking around? No. Okay, that may be a goal. But are you so I mean, disgusted with the physical life? If you are, then you better ask yourself why. Why have you messed up so badly? Why are you so weak in certain cases? Why has your unbridled greed and attachment caused you so many problems that you are ready to say, I want to quit. I don't want this physical life. I don't want human life. I want liberation. Like it's off the shelf. That will come in its own time. First, try to be a liberated living being rather than being a dead liberated being. What's the sense in that? They call them Jivan Mukti. People have the wrong notion of a Jivan Mukti. Jivan Mukti is not somebody who's done with life. It's somebody who knows the law, follows every bit of it, does not get trapped in unbridled greed and attachment, and enjoys the physical play. That is a Jivan. And that is a perfect state to be. So you don't kick the physical world. You learn to live by the rules. That is the real secret of liberation. Yes, most books tell you what is liberation. You die and you merge into God. Whatever it means. I don't know. Nobody is reported from there what this merging is. But I presume it is merging your energy into a bigger energy or a more powerful energy. Okay, so you want to do that? Fine. I'll tell you how to do that. Become as pure as that energy. Simple. How else can you merge? How else can you merge? You have to be equal to. So say you want to merge into Shiva, or you want to merge into Ganesha, or you want to merge into Krishna, or Christ, or whoever it is you want to merge into. Become like them. You can? Fine. Nobody's stopping you. You think it's easy? Do it. That's the only other way you can be liberated. But even then, your karmas have to be completed. So till then, that liberation will not take place. So better to purify your mind, enjoy the physical world. Of course, there's a time limit. You have a shelf life. The body can't last forever, so we keep changing the physical body every time. But don't be hassled about it. Come, play by the rules, enjoy the physical plane, plan to come again. Why not? If you get tired, purify yourself to the level of the energy you want to merge into. Simple. If you have the means and the know-how and the will to achieve that kind of purification, the game is yours. So this is the big secret of mukti and liberation. But start with small steps. As I say, keep the goal in front of you. Start with small steps. Awareness is the first step. Observing the law, next step. Mental purification, most important step. You achieve that, you've conquered. You've conquered all the odds. You are a real Jivan Mukti, in the real sense. Not those who die and are free. You are living and free. And that is the fun, that is the challenge. Which would mean also that you have mastered the senses, the five senses. Which means that you have complete control over your desires. Complete means 100% control over desires. And having 100% control over desire means nothing should make a difference to you. Whether it's there or not there should not make a difference to you. That is difficult. But it's not impossible. It's all in the mind. Let the higher mind consume more of your thinking than the lower mind. That's all it takes. And learn to handle your relationships, because that's where you mess up karma. You pay for it also in relationships, and you mess it up also in relationships. Because that's where the pain factor comes in. That's where the hurt factor, the suffering factor comes in relationships, or with people, human beings. Inanimate things, it doesn't matter. But with people, it does. So it is a bit of a fine line that you're treading. It is a balancing act. I'm not denying that. But you've come here, you've got to play the game. You can't opt out. So you better know the rules, better learn how to play the game and play it right. Rather than sit and cry. And blame your destiny, blame God, blame everyone you can. That doesn't get you anywhere. You're doing nobody favors. Action, mental and physical, is required to achieve this status. And if you feel that is all nonsense, then let life take you along. See what comes, enjoy it, suffer it, incur, square up. Let ignorance be your guide, or let an enlightened mind lead you forward. The choice is yours. So there's no big mystery about it. There's no rocket science behind it. It's very logical. Okay. Anyone wants to ask any questions?
Hello, sir. So I would like to know what are the solutions for karma cleansing?
For
Karma cleansing.
cleansing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I covered that, but I'll just tell you very briefly. There's nothing like karma cleansing, it is karma completion. So, what you have incurred, you will have to pay for. Okay? The one thing that you can start with is stop incurring further karma. That is A. B, what can you do about the karma you've already incurred? You have to square it off at some point of time because it's energetic, it cannot be wiped out. So tomorrow, even if I take your karma, I will have to square it up some way, in some manner. Energy cannot be destroyed. You get my point? So it has to be squared up. Now the best thing that you can do to square up your past karma is to become, is to evolve and take the help of certain spiritual practices which makes it easier for you to go through that karma when the squaring off comes up. So then you are not, crushed under it. You come out quickly and without sort of getting totally bashed up. But yes, some part of it you have to incur. I mean, you have to go through. But if you have that resilience which you develop with your spiritual growth and your evolution, sometimes you may not even feel that you're going through that karma. And yet you are completing it. So that is the only way that you can really go through the karma. There's no swipe that you can take and now polish off the karma. No, nobody has that. That doesn't exist. Okay.
Hello, Guruji. I want to ask that all the sufferings and pains are the karmic debt, or how do we realize or recognize that this is a karmic debt and
Or not a debt.
or not? Because if a person is suffering since a long time.
Good question. Yeah. Good question. All suffering is not karmic. Let me tell you that categorically. Now, this I've often said, I've written in my books, 50% of suffering comes from people outside. 50% of the suffering you are responsible for, you invite, and you bring upon yourself through your own negativity. Okay? Now, the suffering that you have brought upon yourself, you have to come out of it and learn and evolve out of it by, as I said, with mental purification or whatever spiritual practices you do. The one that you are creating. See, now the problem is people don't see this. They see suffering as something that is always coming from outside. No, outside is only the symptom of that, not the cause. The cause could lie with you. But our ignorance prevents us from seeing that. So 50% of the suffering that is your own negativity has nothing to do with karma. It may be your negativity, it may be your weakness, it may be your attachment, it may be your lack of courage, it may be, well, I would say, bad decisions that you have taken or poor decisions you have taken. Your inability to handle people. This could be the cause for suffering, which is nothing to do with karma. Now the karmic part is where, without any fault of yours, by the mere circumstances that come into your life, without your active decisions, being responsible, you are getting suffering in your life. Yes, that is karmic. Now, as I said earlier in this talk, destiny will give you the people who can be villains in your life, or who are designed to be villains in your life. But you could change all that by dealing with them better, by not succumbing to your failings or your shortcomings, or learning through them. So karma is only half the story. The other half is to educate your soul, to evolve. So it's not every time that you suffer, it is, oh, my karma, or I've been given the suffering, God knows why I'm such a nice person. Everyone thinks they are a nice person. Who has poor opinions of themselves? No one. The point is, when you get suffering in your life without any active participation from you, from yourself, from any poor decisions that you've made, then yes, it is completely karmic. But a large part of the time, that is a setup. How you deal with it is your free will. So destiny will set you up for a suffering, but you may just come out of it very easily and with minimum pain if you know how to deal with these situations. If you consider yourself a warrior rather than a victim, and say, okay, I'll bring solution to this in my life, rather than sit down and cry and say, oh my God, what terrible naseeb I have, why my destiny is all messed up. Bring solution, be bold, solve your problems, rather than compound them with your negativity or your inability to help yourself. You can't blame karma for everything. I mean, it's easy to blame. So when you don't have a person to blame, you blame karma. But look at yourself in the mirror. I mean, every time you point a finger, 3 fingers are pointing at you. So 3 times more likely that you are compounding the problem when you're going through suffering. Yes, anyone else?
Just a small guidance around how to deal with relationships, especially painful.
It's a very broad question. Because I think the flip side of relationships is pain. But it needn't be so. It's just that, as I said earlier, our inability to handle them is what really brings the pain. See, in relationships, a couple of ground rules have to be laid down. Especially the inner circle relationships, because those are the ones that bring maximum pain. That is your spouse or any loved one of that caliber. Parents, children, siblings, very, very close friends. This is the inner circle that generally cause maximum pain or suffering. But at the end of the day, you will have to learn to do the balancing act. Because there are no perfect relationships ever possible on this planet. Let me categorically tell you. There is nothing like a perfect relationship. I mean, that is a utopian idea. It does not exist. Otherwise, you're not on this planet or you're dead. One of the two. So you've got to learn how to manage relationships. And that is so much a part of your evolutionary process. So much. Whom to give love, how much love and affection to give. How much to ignore in a relationship. What to value in a relationship. And to what extent can you let your attachment dominate that relationship? These are the ground rules for dealing with a relationship. If you are adept at doing that, if you are good at doing that, and which will take considerable talent, I think you can have some really good relationships. But the moment you put any relationship on autopilot and think it's going to fly and take you to your destination, you are about to crash land. And probably get decimated. So no autopilot for any relationship. That is the mistake we make. That is a mistake everybody makes. Especially in these very close relationships of spouse, lovers, children, parents. It doesn't work on autopilot. You have to pay attention. You have to curate them. You have to pay attention. There is no way out. The sooner you learn, acquire this talent, and sometimes learn to mind your own business also. And not keep intruding in people's lives where you are not supposed to be. I think that concept of our journeys being individual journeys is very important. Because the moment you start intruding in people's lives, thinking you own them, or you possess them, I can see disaster just a few meters away. That's why I said the attachment factor has to be taken care of. You don't possess people. You are in relationship with people. You're not buying them in the market. They're not tied to you forever. This is just an agreement that you're carrying out. The moment you forget that, forget your peace of mind, forget your happiness. Yes, anyone else?
Namaste, Guruji.
Yeah.
My question is like, to realize there exists a law and someone telling me there exists a law, and to have a vision to know that there exists a law. So, what's the difference in it?
The difference is very simple. I mean, you can be a pundit in the law, but the moment you're in actual reality and you forget how to observe that law, you're in trouble. So whether you have a vision of it, whether you have knowledge of it, is immaterial. On the ground, are you observing the law or not? That is what matters. And if you're not, you're going to pay the price. Simple as that. That is why I keep hammering into people's heads that we learn only through experience. We do not learn through books. If everyone learned through books, boy, there would be no suffering in the world. Every educated person would know everything. And we'd be such a utopian, peaceful, lovely, loving world. Oh my God. But we don't. We're not that. Because we don't learn that way. We only learn through experience. So if you are going to be aware of the rules, then you might as well put them into practice and observe them on the ground. By just saying that, okay, I know every law in the world, but I'm not going to observe them. That's not going to work. So you got to put into practice, 100%. Yeah, anyone else? Yes.
Pranam Guruji.
Mm-hmm.
My question related to the sadhana.
Mm-hmm.
So you told us that for every karma we do, we have to square it out.
Yeah.
Okay, then the thing is how sadhana is going to help us, because we have to pay that out anyhow. Then my question is that how sadhana will bring us to that mind we are squaring out it easily. I am not getting that point.
No. Sadhana does not square up your karmas. No, there is no sadhana to square up karmas. I'm sorry. No press the button and karma gets squared. There's no delete button. Let's put it that way. Sadhana helps to purify your mind. And that mental purity helps you, A, to incur less negative karma, and B, to go through the accumulated negative karma easily and less painlessly. Let's put it that way. So there is no delete button. What you've incurred, you have to pay up. But your sadhana gets you to a point where you stop incurring karma. And that is a very big step. At least that ensures that in future you will not have so much of negative karmic baggage to square up. So at some point you have to start that. If you say, this time I won't, next time I will, then you'll never start. So at some point you have to start by not incurring negative karma. So your sadhana helps in that. I mean, if you can do it without sadhana, then fine. But as I said, our desires and our attachments and our greed doesn't allow us. So that is why the sadhana is required for that purification. Otherwise, we are too overwhelmed by the physicality, by our physical existence. So we forget that there exists a law. But there is no delete button.
Good evening, Guruji.
Yeah.
I had a question that how do we understand and identify the purpose of our life? It's multiple things happen, so I just wanted to know that which one is the correct one actually that we can go up to.
I know people make a lot of give a lot of importance to this purpose of life, purpose in life. According to me, there is only one primary purpose, and that is to evolve. I mean, that is what you're here for. Everything else is secondary. Okay? So squaring up your karmas, enjoying your senses, learning lessons, all that is secondary. Your first primary purpose is to evolve. Okay? Now, how you evolve, how quickly you evolve, or slowly you evolve, that's up to you. That's up to how you use your higher mind and your lower mind. It depends on which combination is more prominent in you. But barring that purpose, if you mean a material purpose, then it could be anything that, I mean, comes in front of you in your destiny. Then it depends on, you have to read your destiny and the road signs that your destiny is showing you. On the material side, leave aside the spiritual part of it, which is the primary goal. But other than that, see what opportunities come to you. See where life is taking you. See the doors that it is opening, and that is your purpose, because that's how your blueprint is made. Now, you can rip through it and go and do something very different, but then the challenges will be that much more. If you follow the doors that open up, which destiny opens up for you, for you, then it will be that much smoother, and that is your purpose. And everyone needn't have earth-shaking purpose in life. You know, it doesn't mean that you have to be in the front page headlines of every newspaper. No, that's not the purpose of life. Your purpose of life could be very, even materially, your purpose of life could be very humble and non-dazzling. But it is your purpose of life, and as long as you get a certain amount of gratification, meaning your soul is gratified, that yes, what you're doing gives me a certain satisfaction, that is your purpose, whatever it is. But you have to see the road signs for that. What destiny opens up for you. That's very important, because if you try to do something that is completely not in your destiny, then you're just trying to make a door where there's a wall. And you most likely not succeed in doing anything. Yes, anybody else? We've exhausted the questions. Okay, great. Sure. Hmm.
Have a blueprint on its own.
Yes. Everything has a blueprint.
The question I had was, like, for example, we have a virus outbreak.
Yeah.
To do it, does it?
Yes.
Is it part of some blueprint?
Yes.
Or how does it?
Yes. See, there is individual destiny, each human being, destiny and blueprint, but there are also destinies of nations, destinies of the planet itself. The planet also has a destiny. Now, that is a little beyond our, let's say, comprehension, how it works. I mean, I can tell you, but that's too boring and too long to get into that kind of a thing. But essentially, those things are regulated like how you have a free will, and you do certain things by exercising your will. You can either make a success of it or mess it up. The planet or the nation doesn't have that kind of a will. So they are governed by a body of masters who are highly evolved souls, who are given that responsibility to take the planet through its course of evolution. Now, the course of evolution of the planet depends on the collective evolution of humanity. So they are linked. So every decision that you make, every step that humanity makes towards evolution has a bearing on the destiny of the planet, which is changing with the consciousness of of collective humanity. So it's kind of interlinked. But again, it is, you can say, regulated or facilitated by a council of masters who oversee that the two go in tandem or in sync. The collective consciousness, the evolution of collective consciousness of human beings, that's all the souls together, and the destiny of the planet. It's kind of interlinked. Yeah. But it does have a destiny. So these masters, sort of project short-term blueprints for the planet and for the nations, according to the collective consciousness of human beings.
Guruji, since this topic is open, do we bring it on us, such kind of calamities, or is humanity responsible for outbreaks of this is the fourth calamity since Amazon fire, then Australian fire, then this is the third calamity that we are facing in very short time.
I know.
And America also, they have also had, California
Yes,
also
everywhere.
had.
A lot of
They are like
places.
major ones, like not still able to be controlled. Like Australia is still burning, they say.
Yeah, there are many
So,
calamities.
do we bring it on so that entire humanity learns something, or it's just the consequences of our collective doings?
It's a very fine play of a collective will or collective consciousness and the consequences of our stupidity sometimes. But by and large, if we do not observe certain natural laws, we will bring upon ourselves such calamities, yes. Now, for example, our unbridled greed for creating wealth. At times, we disregard certain natural laws, certain you can say limits that we should observe, and destroy our natural habitat of the world or the eco balance of the world, then we have to face those consequences, and then the masters will say, okay, you've done this, now you face the consequences of this. So the consequences, you say, but okay, that decision was taken by these politicians, but why are these poor people getting affected by it? But that's how it works. I mean, it's somebody has to pay the price for it, and it may not always be the person who's taken that decision to do it or been involved in it. But at some point, yes, humanity has to learn through that pain and suffering also that there are boundaries that cannot be crossed. There are natural laws that have to be respected and observed. And your greed cannot go about destroying everything. And that you have to learn painfully, because you can't make it a one-to-one thing, but humanity as a whole, collective consciousness suffers. I mean, it pains everybody to see that kind of suffering.
Yeah, but it pains only for a short time. Till your house is on fire, we always feel, oh, it's not my problem. It's not my problem. And it was so sad to see the flora and fauna getting affected in such a large scale, especially this Australian bushfire.
Yeah, so that is an example to the world that you will lose things that you don't take care of. It is to teach a lesson. Now, if you don't learn, that's your problem. Now, divinity can't force you to learn something. It can give you a hint. It can show you what can happen if you don't observe the rules and the laws. But you have your free will. If you choose not to learn, if you choose not to take cognizance of what is happening, well, then keep suffering. It's like that.
Anyone else wants to ask any question?
There's something to that.
We have 5 more minutes.
Yeah.
Pranam Guruji.
Yeah.
In one of the YouTube videos that I have seen, in that YouTube video, you have spoken about the blocking of the road signs. If one particular thing is not being, I'm trying too much doing that particular thing, and if that is not happening, I should better stop it.
Yes.
But how does that even apply to the material thing? Let's see, let's say I want to achieve something in a material life. But if I stop there, then how my own
Progress
will happen?
No, it doesn't mean you stop progressing. It means which door are you opening? That is important. It does not mean you stop progressing, you stop evolving. Sometimes we get taken up by our own fancy ideas. We don't see the reality, we don't take into account our capabilities, or we don't have a fair estimate of our capabilities. And we try to break through a wall and try to open a door that never existed. Now, if you do that, you are obviously going to fail. So, see what doors destiny is putting in front of you. That is very important. If you get the indication that, okay, 1, there is a door. 2, how hard do I have to push it? It may be a door, but it may not be for you. So if you have to take a big sledgehammer and smash the door and destroy it and then walk through it, obviously you're walking into something that destiny hasn't planned for you, and therefore you'll suffer the circumstances. I'm not saying stop there. If you find that you cannot open that door through reasonable effort and honest effort, then that door is not meant for you. Try opening another door. But the point is, we are so locked into what we want that we don't see that. And we keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing, wasting our time, our energy, our resources, and gaining very little success, because that is not meant for us. If it's meant for you, the success, the opportunities will be so much better, so much more. So that's why I said, it's not that you don't progress. No, you're opening the wrong door. So just see if you're opening the right door. That's all. Not to stop there.
Pranam Guruji. My question is related to what Simadi just asked. We as human beings, because of our unbridled greed and not following natural laws, we bring calamities upon ourselves. What I need to understand is, then the consequences of these calamities should be borne by human beings, because we are a stupid species. Why do other species suffer the consequences of our wrongdoings?
Okay.
I mean, the marine life, the animals, why do they suffer, and why doesn't anyone, the divine or anyone, take care of them?
Good question. Okay, then you're a very sensitive person. I'll tell you why. The planet was basically created, or rather created for inhabitation, or habitation, I would say, for human beings. So that human beings could take experiences, they could evolve, that these souls would progress. Everything else on the planet is supporting human life. From your mountains to your seas, to your mineral kingdom, to the plant kingdom, to the animal kingdom, everything is in support for it. That is not the primary purpose they are here for. They are here to support human life. That's how the plan was made. Now, I didn't make the plan. I'm just telling you about it. Maybe if I had to make it, I'd make it differently. But this is how it was planned. So the whole support system has to suffer the stupidity of humanity. If human beings make poor decisions, if they do not take care of the planet, yes, everything that supports human life will also suffer consequently. So it's not that God is such a mean person and letting the animals die and letting the trees get burned. It's not like that. It's a collective. These living beings are also souls. They have souls. Even your plant life has souls. The animals also have souls. They have just agreed to operate in a sphere in support of human life. You get my point? So yes, they will go through a consequential suffering because of the stupidity of human beings. And human beings will ultimately suffer from that because these are supporting elements and they hold certain balance, if not anything else, an energetic balance. So when they suffer, it does affect human life, yes. But you can't say that, okay, now human beings have made these mistakes, so don't let the plants and animals suffer. No, it is a collective. It goes with the territory, you can say that. And each species of plants and animals have a guardian entity, which we call gods and goddesses, but I would say a guardian entity is a better word for it. Looking after them and taking care of those species. Each species. There are crores and crores of species, and there are crores and crores of entities looking after them. So, yeah, we really don't have to worry about that. But we have to worry about our stupid decisions. That's true. That's true.
Thank you so much, Guruji. I think everything has come back to the same point. Our unbridled greed, our sense gratification, and the desires that drive us, to the extent that not only we damage ourselves, but we end up damaging the planet as well. I think that is where I think the sadhana comes into play. Many were asking, what is the role of sadhana? Doing any spiritual practices, like I have been with Guruji since now 15 years, and the change that I have undergone through the teachings that he has suggested, now the awareness is so sharp that forget about incurring intentional pain on others. You know, okay, this is karmic, so how to handle it? You know that, okay, you might be acting stupid, so how to control that part? So minimizing my pain and suffering is the outcome of whatever I've learned from him. And I think, I don't know whether to be called a progress, but I think I've learned to play this game in a better way. Any player who has a coach and he trains him up, making that player understand every finest rules of that game, a guru does the same for us. And whatever suggestions come from a guru, they are like from an expert coach. Your playing is going to change if you listen and follow certain instructions. And reducing pain is possible. Reducing pain from karma also is possible. I can tell you from my own experience. It's how you look at it, how you perceive it, and how you manage to come out of that pain and suffering. It's a free will completely. Like Guruji said, there is no God happy seeing you suffering. Like that, no God can help you avoid that. You have to help yourself. You have to make that choice. I am not going to suffer here onwards. Let me first check what I can correct in myself. I know everybody has a list of people who you can suggest that if they change, my life will be better. But let's play it otherwise. It's easier and it's simpler. What I can do so that I change and I can bring some positivity and strength in myself. So from desire to desire, I think we should end this game. Let the higher desires, like higher mind, come into picture than the lower mind, which is only into sense pleasures. And hope